Million salutations at the lotus feet of a dear Bhagwan. Dear friends, a very loving Sai Ram to each one of you who is present here online for this year's new Balvikas Gurus training. To start the session, we are most fortunate and blessed to have Sister Kamla Pandya, who is the National Mahila Coordinator for Education. She is a practicing advocate from Mumbai and took to the study of law under direction from Bhagwan. She is a 3-time gold medalist. She got the first gold medal after graduating in psychology from Bombay University, the second gold medal in jurisprudence from Bombay University, and the third gold medal in education and human values from Bhagwan's hands in Prashant Vidya. So without much ado, let us hand the mic over to Sister Kamla Pandya, who will be talking to us on what is Bal Vikas, an introduction and qualities of the Bal Vikas group. Sign.
Sai Ram, everybody, and a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the new Guru's training. It is nothing difficult that we are going to do. We are going down to the basics because that is what the organization is now spending its forces on, that we spend our time on the basics of the Bal Vikas program. So we will be seeing that as the title of the program goes, it is the ABC of Bal Vikas and the lessons that I learned at the lotus feet of Bhagwan in respect of Bal Vikas. So we will now go back in time to the ABC of life. You will be seeing that you're getting practice with all your letters, alphabets, and even your vowels. So the ABC of life is what I learned at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba. And that is Sri Sathya Sai Bhagwan. The first ABC that we have to pay attention to is always be childlike. This is essential for Group 1 Gurus. Group 1 Gurus must come down to the level of a child while teaching in a class. At the Group 2 stage, you can become more friendly and cheerful with the children. Do not keep a castor oil face, as Swami says. Be cheerful with the children. And at the Group 3 stage, we can always be cautious. Teach the child to be cautious and always be a companion to the child. So therefore, the ABC of life is what we are going to do in Bal Vikas. But for what is Bal Vikas? Bal Vikas is the tiny finger of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. It is from this tiny finger that we spend 9 years of our life, from the age of 4 to 13. 4 to 7 is Group 1, 7 years to 10 years is Group 2, and 10 to 13 is Group 3. And then from 14 onwards, we go to the Group 4, which has just begun in 2019. So at that stage, the child is exposed to project work and other life being experiments. So we have, therefore, remember the ABC of life. For Group 1 is always be childlike. For Group 2 Gurus is always be cheerful. And for Group 3 is always be cautious. Now let us go on to the next letters of Bal Vikas, of the ABC alphabet, that is D, E, F. Don't ever forget God. Don't ever lose faith in God. Don't ever lose faith in Baba. Don't be like Gaurang. I will explain everything to you. Don't ever lose faith in God. You must remember that we always have to teach the children to have faith in God. But for the child to realize that he must have faith in God, we must first have the faith in God. We must have faith in Bhagwan, and then only we can have programs of Bal Vikas. We must be like Gaurang. That means always dedicated our life to God. Like Gaurang used to sing the glory of God all the time. And that is what the Bal Vikas Guru has to do, is to sing the glory of God all the time. If she practices this in her life, it will be easy for her to be natural when in any atmosphere, that she will always experience the grace of God. So the next important letter is G. Don't lose your faith. And if you have faith, then you know that God exists. I will tell you a simple story here. I'm an advocate, and therefore I was asked by my client to make a will. You know what is a will? The will is the last testament which a person makes before he dies. So that man came to me and said, "Ma'am, will you make me a will?" I said, "Sure. What do you want?" Then I have 19 horses. And I lost my wife, but I have my son with me, Raju, and my servant Ramu who looks after me. And I want to give something to Dharmakshetra where I spend my evening. I said, "Tell me how you want me to distribute your horses." So he said, "Give Ramu, my son, half my horses. Give Raju, my servant, I'm sorry, the other way. Give Raju, my son, half my horses. Give Ramu, my servant, 1/4 of the horses. And 1/5 of the horses keep for Dharmakshetra." Then I said, "What about who do you want to carry out the execution of this will?" He said, "Make Devi Aunty in charge as an executor of the will." So I wrote the name of Devi Aunty. I prepared the will. I took his signature in the presence of 2 witnesses, and I sealed the will and gave it to him. A few days later, the old man passed away. And Devi came running to me and said, "Kamla, this man has passed away. Should I open the will?" I said, "Yes, open it and see what he has written." So she read the will and she put her hand on her head and said, "What have you done, Kamla? The first sentence you say that I have 19 horses and half of them you give it to my son, Raju." So she said, "What have you done? You have made a mistake in the will." I said, "What is that?" "Half of 19. She said, "How can I make half of 19? And therefore, the question arises, how do we do this? So I was just scratching my head and thinking, why could I have made this mistake? And at that time, at that very place where we were standing, another old wise man came on his horseback. And he said, "Why are you so worried?" So Devi told him that, "See, there's a mistake in this will. It says that half of 19 has to be given to Ramu, the son. Raju, the son." So the old man said, "Is that so simple? Don't worry, I'll bring my horse." So he got on from his horse and he brought and said, "Bring the 19 horses." So 19 horses plus the 20th his own were made to stand in a line. And then he said, "Now distribute." Very simple. So Devi said, "Simple. Half of 20, anybody can put up their hand. Half of 20. So I know whether you're sleeping or awake. Yes, half of 20. You can put in the chat box. We can see it in the chat box. 10, correct. Then 1/4 of 20, you give it to Ramu the servant. 1/4 of 20, 5, correct. 1/5 of 20, give it to Dharmakshetra. 1/5 is 4, correct. So 10 plus 5 plus 4, 19. And then the old man sat back on his 20th horse and rode away. So I said, "Stop, explain what have you done?" Even Devi ran after the old man and said, "Stop, what have you done?" He said, "Whenever you are in problem and you have to solve the problem, offer the 10th, the 20th horse to God. And add that 20th horse in your life. And that is the grace of God." I remember this sentence coming to me in one interview with Bhagwan. It was at the time of my marriage, and Swami had called us for an interview. And I said to Swami, we had nothing in the house for the marriage. So I told Swami, "I have nothing, and we have brought nothing for the marriage." So Swami said, "Don't worry, I will do everything. You don't buy anything." So I was very happy that God is going to do everything for me. I said, "Swami, what should I do?" He said, "Wait." And on the day of the marriage, Swami sent the wedding sari, everything. Then I asked Swami, "Why did you do all this for me? I'm not deserving of all this." So Swami said, This is because I have anugrah for you. I have grace for you. And that is the grace that we must earn. I said, but Swami, what have I done? So he said, you do my Bal Vikas, I will do your life for you. I will spend your life for you. I will do anything for you if you run my Bal Vikas. So from that day onwards, we have been dedicated to Bal Vikas. Let us go on to the next letter, H. All Bal Vikas gurus must practice the 3HV. Whenever a thought comes to the head, before the hand acts, we must take the approval of the heart. Remember the traffic signal. When you explain this to the child, remember the traffic signal. Whenever a thought comes to the mind, the child must be trained to stop before acting. Stop, then pause. That is taking the approval of the heart. And finally, H, once you have taken the approval of the heart, then only can the hands act. So therefore, the red is the signal, stop. The orange is pause, take the approval of the heart. Remember Swami's robe. And finally, the green, which is go ahead and let the hands work. So this is what we have to do in Bal Vikas. For practice 3HV, whenever a thought comes to the head, take the approval of the heart, and finally let the hands act. A beautiful story that I remember here is a balloon story. There was this boy, he was on the Juhu beach, and he saw all those peddlers selling balloons. And they had different multicolored balloons, red, blue, green, yellow. Only one balloon maker had a black balloon. So he went to all of them and said, where is your black balloon? So they said, no, we don't give black. We only give red, blue, green. Then he went to this man and said, well, where are your colored balloons? The man said, I've sold off all. Only black is left. So he said, I don't want black, the little boy said. So the peddler says, any color is the same. Remember that the balloon, what fills the balloon is the air. So in all of us also, we must fill the air of love. And only then can we have the balloon fly up in the sky. So remember always that it doesn't matter which color your balloon is, it must be filled with the air of love. The next important letter that we will see is I. Every guru must practice truth. We tell the children to speak the truth, but if we do not practice truth, we cannot expect the children to do it. So, for practice of truth, we have to train our intellect and modify our intuition. Intellect helps to increase the memory and brain power, and intuition awakens the voice of God within. And for this, we will see how to awaken the voice of God by a demonstration during the course of my talk. So remember the IIT for practicing truth. Remember intellect, develop your intellect and increase your intuition. Then you will experience truth. We go on to the next is J. We must all be judicious in the approach to the class because Bal Vikas is a mixture of 5 teaching techniques. The 5 teaching techniques are prayer, group singing, storytelling, group activities, and silent sitting. So all these 5 must be used judiciously in a class. You cannot only tell stories or only sing bhajans or only play games, but you must have a judicious mix of all 3, of all 5. That means you must start with prayer, fill up with stories, and spend the time with silent sitting, do group activities, and finally sing songs. So all these 5 must be judiciously mixed. Like for example, you have just had lunch and you must have had sambar or you must have had bale. So in that there should be a judicious mix of all the 5 ingredients of Bal Vikas, the 5 teaching techniques, which we will see later. And Bal Vikas is also a mixture of bhakti, seva and gyan. I will do this when I talk about the vowels of Bal Vikas. So first of all, you must remember that there must be a judicious mix of all the techniques in Bal Vikas. You must tell stories, you must start with prayers, silent sitting, storytelling, and group activity. There must be a judicious mix of all the 5 teaching techniques. Tomorrow you will be experiencing a demonstration of each of the 5 teaching techniques, but for the time being, I will explain some little later. The next is K. We have to kindle the light of Dhyan. Here is a picture of the lamp, and let us all understand what is this kindle of light. We have to experience silent sitting here. And let us now experience one demo of a silent sitting activity. Close your eyes, sit comfortably, raise your chest, and fold your hands in prayer. Before you close your eyes, open it again and see the lamp that is lit in front of you, the candle that is lit. Once you have experienced the beauty of this candle, close your eyes and visualize that candle in the region of the eyebrows, between the eyebrows. Then let the light travel down to your eyes. Your eyes have become holy. The eyes have become pure. Let it move to the ears. The ears can hear better. Ears have improved. Let it go down to your nose and your tongue. The nose will smell good and the tongue will eat and speak good. Let the light go down the chest, through the throat, and let it fill your chest with warmth and beauty. Move down the length of your stomach, abdomen, and down to your legs. Right down to your feet. Let your feet walk on the path of Dharma. Let there be peace in your being. Move your light up the back of your body. Let it go up to the head. Bring it back to the region between the eyebrows. And then bring it back to the heart. But before taking it to the heart, let it go to the right hand and the left hand. And across to the heart now. Let it rest in your heart. See that light in your heart. And in that heart, see Bhagwan seated with his orange robe, his lovely hair, his beautiful eyes, and his smiling lips. He raises his hand in the Abhaya pose as if to say, why fear when I am here? Let the light continue to spread out in ever-widening circles. First, see your mother and father in that light. See your brothers and your sisters. See your friends at home and at school. Friends at home and in society. Friends at home and in the neighborhood. All in that light. Let that light continue to go out in ever-widening circles to include your society, the region where you live. Every region, every part is filled with divine light. Be happy. Be cheerful. Keep your face smiling. And see God blessing you. Slowly take the light back to your heart and let it rest in your heart for the balanced part of the day. Slowly open your eyes, rub your hands together and clean your eyes. And then silently say, Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormamamritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this was a simple demo of a silent sitting session, which we have to do almost every day. We have to start the day with the silent sitting. And I will explain why this is important in your daily being. Let us go on to the next letter, L. Love and law. Every Bal Vikas Guru must practice love and law. I remember when I got married, and it was in June, and in August, Swami had called us Bal Vikas Gurus to put a party, and I and Devi had happened to be there at that time, and Swami had called us for an interview. So since I had just got married to a family of lawyers, I asked Swami, what should I do now? So Swami said, love and law. I was wondering, what is he saying, love and law? I did not understand. Again, outside the interview room, I asked Swami, what is love and law? Love is Bal Vikas. Law is your profession. So do both love and law. And that is why I continue teaching in Bal Vikas and practicing practicing law in my as a profession. So we also not only have to be lawyers, but we have to have love in our hearts and discipline in the class. The law here we talk about is a discipline that we must experience in the class. So Bal Vikas Guru must teach with love and conduct the class with discipline. Next point that we have is M. I was talking about the vowels of Bal Vikas. In the word Bal Vikas, there are 3 vowels. Can anybody mention in the chat box which are the 3 vowels? I'm taking you back to your kindergarten stage. Which are the 3 vowels that you are seeing in the word Bal Vikas? Balvikas. There's one more. A-I. Gayatri, one more is there. A-I and one more vowel. Bal Vikas. Gayatri? Yes. Okay. Gayatri has it A-I-A. The first vowel that we are going to practice in Bal Vikas is A. Bal Vikas is an appointment with God. So it opens up the Bhakti Marg. I remember one child coming late to the class every Saturday. So I told him that, see, whenever you come late to class, Swami is already there. So it is not correct for you to come late. And therefore, from next time, since the class begins at 5 o'clock, you come at 10 to 5 and sit with me and let us welcome Swami. So he agreed. And from the next Saturday, he started coming at 10 to 5. One Saturday, 2 Saturdays later, he came at 4:45. I asked him, why will you come early? He says, because Swami is going to come early today. I said, why today? He said, today is second Saturday. This is how Bombay children speak. Second Saturday, and there's no traffic on road. And therefore, there's no work, and all are coming fast. So Swami will also come fast in his car from the airport to the class. And because of that, I have come early today. The child has experienced the goodness of punctuality. And that is what we have to teach the child. Appointment with God, opening up the Bhakti Marg. The next important letter that we have is I. I is like an inward journey. Bal Vikas opens up an inward journey. Even for the Guru, what should I do next week? Which story should I tell? Which game should I play? All this opens up the Jnana Marg. That is the inward journey, which makes you plan ahead. And the last letter that we have is action. A is action without expectation for fruit. Opens up the Karma Marg. So action without expectation for the fruit. We have to practice doing seva without having any desire for fruit. And that is what Bal Vikas trains us, that we have to surrender to God and offer all our work at His lotus feet. And that is the Karma Marg. So we have the Bhakti Marg, the Jnana Marg, and the Karma Marg opening up with Bal Vikas. Then we go on to the next, M itself. At the time of marriage, Swami told about the importance of Bal Vikas. And he also said that Bal Vikas must help us to experience important aspect of first understanding and then adjusting. So we have to first understand each other and then adjust. But nowadays, what happens in marriages, as a divorce lawyer, I've seen that people try to adjust first and then understand. That is not the thing. The first important is to understand and then adjust. Even in your class, you have to understand the children and then adjust to the class. So we gurus also must understand the importance of the presence of children in your class, the parents of your children, and then adjust to them. Next point is money. Swami says, do not run after money. Money is like a shoe. He told, and we have to teach the children that we must save money, not spend it lavishly. Today's children are very careless about the use of money, but we have to explain to the child the importance of money. Money comes and goes. Morality comes and goes. That is what we have to help our children to understand. This money is like a shoe. If it is very big, you will fall. If it is small, then you will feel the bite in your leg, in your foot. So therefore, the shoe bite should be avoided. You must have the shoe of your size. If the size of your foot is 7, you cannot have a shoe of 8 size. You have to have it of 7 size. If it is of 6 size, it will bite your foot. Therefore, you must keep the shoe of the correct size. So be careful about how you spend money. Let us go on to N. Every Bal Vikas guru must remember this. Never, never, never give up. Because kal ho na ho. That's a beautiful song which we had sung in one of the Ashadi programs for Swami. And I remember a beautiful story of Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was called to his alma mater to give a speech. And everybody was tired of speeches. Nobody likes to hear so many speeches. And at the end, he was asked to give the vote of thanks. And my God, everybody said, now one more talk. He went up to the stage and said, children, I will speak only 6 words and no more. So he said, 6 words? 6 words? How can you speak so little, sir? I will do that. I will speak 6 words and no more. So first is never, 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 never. 4. Give up. 6. And then he sat down. So we children, we have to teach our children never to give up, to have faith in God, and remember that never give up, be optimistic in life. So we go to the next letter of O, that is optimism. We all have to practice this optimism. I am strong being. I am a healthy being. Keep saying this all the time. I am God's child. I am an angel. Keep practicing these types of things. I am healthy. I am witty. I am kind. I am gentle. So keep on practicing such sort of sentences every day in your mind. And then you will feel the whole situation of life becoming open-minded and optimistic, making you healthy and wise. Keep always saying positive. I am optimistic. I am strong. I am healthy. I am cheerful. I am full of life. I am kind. I am strong. Like that, keep on saying such sentences which gives you a chance of being open-minded all the time. Let us go to the next point, P. A teacher must practice. We must be, do and tell. That is the first thing necessary for a teacher, for a guru. Swami never called us teachers. In the beginning it was called a teacher. But in 1974, he changed the name of teachers to gurus. He gave us such a big title. He says, be, do and tell. We must first, and one important lesson that I learned is in my program of lawyers, prayer-rise, picture-rise and actualize. Prayer-rise always the things happen good in your life. Picture-rise the happy things around you and actualize, see that happening in your life. This happened to me in a divorce matter. A couple who were very happily married suddenly decided that they couldn't live together and they wanted a divorce. So they came to me and said that let us go for a divorce petition. I said, but why? They said, we don't want to live together. I said, okay, do it as a mutual consent. because you won't have to throw any garbage or bad words at each other. We'll say everything very sweetly and get out. 6 month period you have to. So I told a woman, you keep on praying. If you want this marriage to survive, you keep on praying. And then I told her, picturize the happy moments of your life. And for 6 months, they did like this. And then on the 6th month, when the petition was to be heard for the final time, I asked her to act. I asked them to come to the court. And both of them came to the court, and the man said, I don't want to give a divorce. So the woman said, I don't want it also. What they had done during the 6 months was that they had prayerized to God that let things happen well. They picturized the happy moments and actualized the thing that happened was that they did not get a divorce given from the court. So we have to also, if you want things to improve in your life, prayeриze good, picturize happy moments and actualize the best. And finally, remember the important word push. Pray until something happens. Keep on praying until something happens. God will never let you down. Pray until something happens. P-U-S-H. Pray until something happens. Then we go on to the next. Q. Quietude. All the time, whenever you get chance, try to go into silence, because it is only in the depth of silence that the voice of God can be heard. Don't keep on thinking of questions. Keep your mind under control. Be quiet. And I shall explain to you the importance of quietude when I do the letter S. Let us go on to the next one. R. Be a right leader, a right guru, a right teacher. Be forthright. Be a right, and as your right leader, you have to be forthright. So not only do you have to be truthful, you have to be forthright and follow the path of Dharma. Every guru must follow the path of Dharma. And then only can there be the children following her. We cannot tell the children that don't fight with your sister, don't fight with your brother, and we are also fighting with our own sisters and brothers. So we must be forthright. What you do, you must practice. Be, do, and tell. Then we come to S. Bal Vikas is a big seva that we have undertaken to be with children. It's a beautiful seva that you have taken up. And the first thing that this Bal Vikas program is the tiny finger of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. The 4 S's that go with tells you how your day should be spent. Start the day with silence, quietude. Every morning, at least put 2 minutes for silent sitting. Practice silent sitting. Close your eyes and let the light of love pass through your entire body. Then spend the day with study, self-study. Read good books. Every Bal Vikas guru must cultivate the habit of reading good books. Because whenever you are called to take a class, you must be ready at any time to be able to tell a story, to share some experience, maybe to live with the children some important moments of your life. Then the next important S is the third S is end the day with self-audit. Every guru, every Bal Vikas child must be trained to ask themselves at the end of the day, am I a better person today than I was yesterday? Am I a better guru today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is yes, we can sleep. If the answer is no, we have to understand what went wrong. And then we have to still stoop into the seva, that is service to mankind is service to God. Seva should be a way of your life. And that is why the organization has been created. Start the day with silence, fill the day with self-study, end the day with self-audit, and then merge into seva. Then we go to the next. RST. Even I am forgetting my letter. T is transformation. Bal Vikas must help to bring a transformation first in the guru and then in the children. And a beautiful story that I remember here, a song that I remember here is जब से मैंने साई पाया मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया, जब से मैंने साई पाया, मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया। इस जहां की बुराइयों से मुझे छुड़ाया प्यार देके, तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया। सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम, सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम, राह दिखाया चलना सिखाया, तब से दिल मेरा मन मेरी काया, मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया, मेरा जीवन बदल बदल गया. So that must be the transformation that we experience in our life as being Bal Vikas Guru. We have to first experience the change in our life, then only we can experience the change in the teacher's life. Then Baba tells us, as Gurus, we are only trustees. Do not say, these are my children, this is my class. Don't attach the ownership of everything to them, to yourself. I remember in Dharmakshetra once, I was at the Bal Vikas program, and Swami came down the steps of Satyadeep and asked me, how many children do you have? I was just married. I said, Swami, none. Again he asked me, how many children? I said, none, Swami. You know, you got us married. So he said, are you sure? Then he said, yes. Then he turned around to all the Bal Vikas children sitting on the lawns of Dharmakshetra and he said, whose children are these? How many are there? I said, Swami, 3,000. Whose 3,000 children are these? All these are your children. You are the trustee of 3,000 children. So remember that the children that come to your class are not your children. They have come to you for some period of your time, and you have to be only a trustee of those children. So that should be the trusteeship that we should endeavor. Let us go on to the next. RSTU. You must practice unity of thought, word, and action. TWA is not the airlines, it's thought, word, and action. We must all practice. The Bal Vikas Guru must practice unity of thought, word, and action. Only then will there be bliss and peace in her life. And that will come to the next one, UV. Values must be a part of your life. And especially the Satya Dharma, Shanti Prema, Ahimsa, the values that we must practice in our life. And these values, if we practice in our life, we can expect the children also to see us and follow our example. We come to the next is X. So I'm sorry, W. I'm forgetting my alphabet. Watch yourself. Every guru must watch herself, especially at the end of the day. Am I a better person? Watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thought, watch your character, watch your heart, watch yourself. So we have to watch ourselves. And then we have to put this feeling even in the children so that they also can learn that they have to learn to look inside. See how the beautiful my stethoscope and the telescope is showing? Watch inside. And then we come to X. We have to practice the exercise of excellence. We have to move from good to better, from better to best. That is X, the exercise of excellence. And that will bring us to the important letters of yeoman service. That is the seva that you are rendering as a Bal Vikas Guru. A yeoman service in your life. And remember to take this. I remember Swami calling me at Purnachandra Hall once and asking me what I wanted. I said, Swami, I don't know anything. I can't do anything. I can't do any seva. So Swami turned around and said, you are my Bal Vikas. Remember, have love for Bal Vikas. Make Bal Vikas your way of life. And that is a yeoman service you can render. Make Bal Vikas your way of life. And once you have made Bal Vikas your way of life, we come to the last letter of the alphabet, that is, have the zeal to fly high in the sky to the highest level, and then we will experience the beauty of God, the glory of God in your life. And so we come to this beautiful song of the letter Bal Vikas. B for blessings, count them now. A for Ananda, that's bliss. L for love that flows from in. V for values one and all. I for integration. K for knowledge of the self. A for Anugrah, that space that will bring us back to SAI set. Just follow the tune of Do Re Mi. And this is a song we sang in front of Swami at Purnachandra Hall. And when I came to the last letter, yes, that will bring us back to SAI. The curtain of Purnachandra Hall moved and Swami wheeled himself out and said, I am that side. So if we do his work, he is going to be happy with it. And lastly, important that we gurus must remember that once you have attended the program for 2 days, you have to attend a class of Bal Vikas for 8 weeks. After that, you have to choose one Bal Vikas model guru's class where you can attend for 1 year. And then when you feel that you are confident to tell a story or to sing a song or to play some game to children, you can take up one aspect of the Bal Vikas and become a Bal Vikas guru. The training is for 1 year in a model class, and then you will be a successful Bal Vikas guru. With this few words, I'll come to the end of my session and say Sai Ram and good day to all of you. All the best and loves.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Kamla Didi, for that wonderful, wonderful talk. The introductory talk has set the tone for this training program, I'm sure. All the gurus have understood all the alphabets and all the vowels connected with Bharvikas for life, I'm sure. So that we have started in on a very splendid and wonderful note. And thank you once again for being with us and for guiding us. So we now go on to the next topic, that is qualities of the Balvikas child with respect to Swami's childhood. And for that, we have another very senior Balvikas Guru. She is the education coordinator of Fourth Samiti, Bhushan Paniban Gandhi. We are most fortunate to have her because she's been one of the gurus of the very first batch of Balvikas gurus who were trained in 1971 by Swami himself. And so she is here to share her thoughts on the qualities of the Balvikas. Over to you, Auntie. Thank you so much.
Sairam. Sairam, are we audible?
Yes, yes, very much.
Loving pranams at the divine lotus feet and a warm Sairam to everyone. This next session focuses on the Balvikas child, the children who are the recipients of Swami's unique boon, the Balvikas movement. The virtues and values we impart are inborn, but they have to be elicited by the Balvikas Guru and made to blossom through the 5 teaching techniques that we just heard about. Let us remember we have a divine Guru who oversees this task and whose grace brings transformation. Love is the undercurrent of all values, and right from his childhood, Swami exemplified selfless love and service. Even today, our Balvikas alumni say they were inspired to live the ideals they imbibed through Swami's childhood incidents. The foremost virtue in our culture is Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, meaning revere the parents as your living gods. Little Sathya would teach this to his little playmates. Incidentally, when Sathya came home from school, he rarely spoke of what he was taught. Instead, he would speak of what he taught the children, and sometimes even the elders. Swami would tell the children around him, look, Your mother has given you this body. Your father is fostering its growth, providing food and clothes. Your parents have shared their blood, knowledge, and wealth with you. They sacrificed many things: love, serve, obey, make them happy. In later years, Swami would tell his students, if you chant the Gayatri and also respect your parents as God, the two together will give brightness and effulgence to your life. Then we have the injunction, Acharya Devo Bhava, meaning revere the teacher as God. For the teacher promotes one's intelligence and knowledge, making one a useful member of society. Then Atiti Devo Bhava, meaning revere the guest as God. Children are taught to be courteous and greet guests with a namaskar according to our traditions. Swami always wanted children to learn good manners. Prayer is one of the first things a child learns at Bal Vikas. When children pray, they strengthen their connect with God in their hearts. They learn a number of universal prayers, such as Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, which means, may all beings in all the worlds be happy. To pray for the peace and happiness of everyone is the essence of prayer in our culture. Now we come to the Vedic injunction Satyam Vada, Dharmam Cha, meaning speak truth, practice dharma. That is to say, when the promptings of truth from our inner self are spoken and then put into action, it is dharma. Satya told his playmates, always speak truth under all circumstances. Never cover up your faults due to the fear that your parents may reprimand you. Let them do so. You must also know how truth should be spoken. Speak it in such a way that it is pleasing and does not annoy or hurt others. Also, do not speak falsehood to flatter anyone. Satya and Dharma take us to the unity of thought, word, and deed. Children must know that real human nature consists of the unity between one's thoughts, words, and deeds. Swami says that merely having a human form does not make one human. It is by following his fundamental human nature of unity in thought, word, and deed that man becomes truly human and fulfills his life. A simple rule: do what you say, don't say what you cannot do. Balvikas children cultivate friendship with God early in life. God is our only real friend who is always with us. All other friends are impermanent. They come and go, but God is permanent. Swami gave a sweet example to illustrate this. The students were taking photos with Swami. After each student had his photo taken, he would go back to his. See, all of you come and go, but I am here permanent. Now we come to the inherent unity in all faiths. Young Satya would tell the village children, listen, morality is more important than worship or religion. Give up differences and live happily with the spirit of unity. At the high school in Uravakonda, Swami used to sing this prayer composed by him at the morning assembly. The Hindus, no, could we go back? The Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis, Muslims, and Christians come to thy throne from east and west, making the garland of love. Hail to thee who unites all humanity. Inherent unity in our faiths. Swami says the five fundamental human values of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prem, and Ahimsa are the essence of all religions, as well as the essence of the Sai principle. All Bhartiya's children are well acquainted with the truth that there is only one religion, the religion of love, one caste, the caste of humanity, one language, the language of the heart, and one God who is omnipresent. If all people realized this truth, the world we live in today, clothes out of different types of colored cloth from the Bukapatnam market. The children would all excitedly rush forward to select what they liked, but Satya would stand to one side, happy that the children around him were happy. When Mother Ishwarama urged him to take what he liked, he would say, let them select the cloth they like. Whatever remains is good enough for me. Similarly, one day, the foster mother Subama prepared dosas and called Satya to partake of them. Of course, Satya would never agree to eat alone and said that only if she prepared dosas for all the children would he come. Even at the tender age of 3 or 4, if a poor, hungry person came to their house, little Satya would run inside and bring clothes or food and give it away, even though the family itself was quite poor. Ishwarama says he just had to relieve pain and suffering as soon as he saw it in anyone. Once a child in the street was shivering with no clothes on. Satya promptly removed his shirt and put it on the child. When Satya was staying with Sri Kondamaraju, the grandfather, despite being just 8 years old, he would get up early, wash the utensils, cook food, and then run to attend school in Bukapatnam, which was 2.5 miles away. When the lunch bell rang, Satya would come running back, serve food to the grandfather, eat some himself, and then run back to Bukapatnam. All the people in the street liked what Satya prepared. Sometimes, when Satya returned from school, there would be a line of people suffering from fever, waiting with their tumblers for the pepper rasam prepared by Satya. After partaking of it, they would be satisfied, saying, the fever has gone. No doubt, This was the beginning of Narayan Seva. Satya was 10 years old when he attended the high school at Kamalapuram, staying with his elder brother. There was scarcity of water there, and it was difficult to get drinking water. So Satya had to draw water several times a day from a well nearly a kilometer away and carry it in huge earthen pots back to the family. He would be busy with this till 9 o'clock when he left for school. Later, when he returned to Puttaparthi, Ishwarama noticed a mark on his left shoulder and asked Satya about it. Satya just smiled and said that it was perhaps due to the water pots hung on both ends of the pole on his shoulders. Then Satya said, Mother, I carry the waters of life gladly. Now we come to the famous scout trip, exemplifying Satya's qualities of simplicity, forbearance, and understanding. One day, the scout master announced that they were all going to attend the annual festival at Pushpagiri, where they would render service to the people. Satya had neither the money for a scout uniform or for the bus fare. As Sri Venkaparaju, the father, could not afford much, Satya did not like to ask him for the money. Now, unlike most children of today, Satya did not have dozens of clothes. He just had one pair of shorts and a shirt, which he washed daily after returning from school. He used to iron his clothes using a live coal in a brass pot and then set the creases under a heavy trunk for the night. Ramesh, a classmate of Satya, wanted to gift him a scout uniform, but Satya did not accept it and lovingly explained to him the giving and taking of gifts spoils friendship. Friendship must be from heart to heart. So, on some pretext, Satya avoided the bus and quietly walked the 9 miles to Pushpagiri. At Pushpagiri, Satya, who was also the leader of the scout troop, immediately plunged wholeheartedly into the work allotted to them, despite not having eaten for 2 days. Supplying water to the people, looking after the cleanliness of the peace, restoring lost children to their parents. In fact, it was only to inspire the boys to render selfless service that he went to Pushpagiri at all. Now, as Satya had been away for 8 days, there had been no water in the house, and the family had to undergo a lot of hardship. Thus, when Satya reached home, the elder brother vented his pent up anger on him. Shortly after this, the father visited Kamalapuram. He was very concerned about Satya's bandaged, swollen hand. He asked Satya to return to Puttaparthi, where life would not be so hard. Satya softly told the father that he would come later, that right now the family needed him. Besides, if he left suddenly, people might talk, and that would reflect badly on the family's good name. In later years, Satya used to tell his students never to speak anything outside that would bring down the honor of their family. Here, we should understand that the elder brother was only playing his role in the story of the Sai avatar. Without such incidents, How would Satya have been able to set an example? Now we come to the quality of kindness. This is very important for children. How much Swami loved animals is evident from this picture. Right from his childhood, Satya could not tolerate the killing or ill treating of animals as we can see. In those days, it was the custom to hold bullock cart races on the riverbed of the Chitravati. The bullocks used to be whipped or their tails twisted to make them run faster. Similarly, there would be cockfights where the cocks would get injured. Satya would tell the children, don't watch these. Tell your fathers not to indulge in these activities. Satya would say, yes, be competitive in doing good deeds, not in such cruel pastimes. This is the famous tiger story. Once an English officer who was a big game hunter had gone hunting in the forest on the other side of the Chitravati river, where he shot a tiger. Swami instructed him sternly, go back, get the little cubs who are hungry and crying, and give them to a zoo where they will be looked after. Baba instructed further, from now on, shoot animals only with your camera. The Englishman discovered that hunting with a camera was even more challenging, and it was a more peaceful, non-violent, and virtuous way to live. Swami tells our children the school and home are places where you learn to develop kindness and forbearance. In the school I went to, Baba said, I was full of love for all the children. I never took part in groupism. I never belonged to any group as children do today. Do not make another girl or boy sad by your actions. Always be sweet, loving, and cheerful. Children also learn the value of silence and serenity. Swami tells them, keep silent for a little while every day. Learn to be calm when something happens in the way you do not like. Gratitude is a very important quality. It is a divine quality. Here is a sweet example. Once, Baba, along with a group of devotees, was staying at Horsley Hills. There was a buffalo there who used to transport water for them many times a day from the villages below, in skin bags slung across its back. Before leaving, Baba quietly went to the buffalo and patting it affectionately said, you have done me good service, Bangaru. Baba notices and appreciates even the tiniest act of service. Now we come to the environment, namely the five elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which are divine manifestations. The five elements that build the entire cosmos are contained in the human body and sustain human life. Children should know that we cannot live without them, even for a moment. They must revere the elements with gratitude and know how to make proper use of them. They must understand that balance in human life and balance in nature go hand in hand. A child should understand his connect with nature. For instance, himself, the individual, is a part of society, samashti. The society is a limb of nature, srishti. Nature is a limb of God, parameshti, from which it has emerged. And now let us come to the 5 Ds and see how they play out in a child's life. Broadly, the duty of a child is to obey and respect his parents and study well. Swami tells them, whatever activity you undertake, dedicate it to God. All the powers in your body are the gifts of God. In fact, divinity pervades every inch, every cell, and every atom of your body. Now we come to devotion, that is pure, selfless love for God. It blossoms in children through prayer, devotional singing, stories of divine incarnations, and devotees, japam, silent sitting, and seva activities, all the components of Bal Vikas. Satya formed the Pandari Bhajan group at the age of 10 to instill devotion in the village children. Here we have the beginnings of Nagar Sankirtan. We come to discipline. Discipline become it in our day-to-day life in a natural manner. The discipline of sealing on desires benefits not only the individual, but the society and the world. There have to be limits set for all desires. The 4 areas in which the children practice this discipline are food, time, energy, and money. They have to be used wisely and not wasted. Children make a note of their progress in this context in a little book called My Spiritual Diary. The children have been taught that food is God, Annam Brahma. Children should recognize the hand of God, even in a tiny grain of rice, for all the elements come together to make that grain. The sun, soil, water, air, and even the energy of the farm. A little child from the primary school was putting away his plate after eating. Swami saw this. He saw a number of grains in it, and pointing to each rice grain said, see, Brahma, Brahma, Brahma. Time too is God. Children know that and that the present is the most important aspect of time because it has the fruit of the past and it contains the seed of the future in a subtle way. We should conserve energy by talking less, by not wasting electricity and water. Now, one day, when Swami came outside, his eyes were a little red. The students were all curious. Swami said, see, I was washing my face. My eyes were closed. And as I was trying to locate the tap to turn on the water, a little soap must have got into my eyes. The message was clear. Don't leave the tap running while you wash your face or hands. Swami always switched off the light and fan himself when leaving the interview room. Money also, the children should know how to spend. They should know the difference between needs and desires. Now, discrimination. It is discrimination that sets man apart from other creatures. All of us have to constantly discriminate before doing or speaking anything and ask ourselves, is this good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? Children too have to be taught to apply the same discrimination. Would my parents like me to do this? Would God like it? They have to develop the self confidence to be different. This is very important. You often hear children saying, but all my friends are doing this. They have to develop the self confidence to be different if necessary and follow their conscience. Swami also speaks of fundamental discrimination, which takes into account what would be good and beneficial for the whole of society. Then, determination. Swami tells students, when you want to achieve something, you must have the determination and persistence to secure it by all your efforts. No room should be given for doubt and hesitation. There is nothing which cannot be achieved with firm determination. What we need is resoluteness, not resolutions, which is evident from this little example. One day, the deer in a forest had a meeting to pass a resolution that henceforth none of them would be afraid of the hunting dogs. They all cheered and clapped loudly. Suddenly, loud barking was heard. In a trice, they all ran away. Devo Devaya. All religions proclaim that the body is a moving temple and the indweller is God. So the body must be kept pure and sacred through good conduct and good company. The five senses must be guarded so that all their inputs are sattvic and pure as befitting the appellation of temple used for the body. The eyes should be directed towards good things like the beauties of nature, read good books, etc. In this context, we may recall how Satya would not allow the children, the village children, to watch the talky picture shows that came to the village, saying they willfully dragged down ideals and values. Ears should listen to good things, good music, accounts relating to the divine. The nose inhaling sweet scents and clean, fresh air. The hands for good actions. The tongue has to guard against talking too much, speaking untruth, telling tales, and criticizing. Little Satya was called Mittabhashi, one of limited talk, and Mittahari, one of limited food. And now we come to self confidence. It may be the last but not the least. It is very important for children. They should know that self confidence is the very foundation of life. After developing self confidence, one will acquire self satisfaction, that is, satisfaction of one's conscience. Then comes self sacrificing, self sacrifice, or giving up all that comes in the way of self realization. Then alone is self realization achieved. The word self here denotes the Atma. Swami gives children the example of a little bird. He says, if a little bird perches on a small branch of a tree and the branch moves to and fro on account of the weight of the bird is not perturbed because it does not depend on the branch for its safety. It depends on its own wings. Even if the branch breaks, the little bird, who has confidence in its own wings, will be fearless and just fly away. Thus, if self confidence is fostered in a child, he will be able to follow his heart and conscience in all aspects of life and fulfill the purpose of life. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Auntie, for that wonderful presentation. I think all the qualities which a Balvika's child has to have at the end of the 9 years course has been wonderfully explained by you with reference to Swami's life. So thank you so much once again for being here with us in this session. We now move on to the next topic, that is power of prayer. And for that, we have Sister Priya Mirpuri, who is the Mahila coordinator of Port Samiti Mumbai and also the district education coordinator for District 1. Officially, she was a professor of economics and political science at the Jain College. She rose to become the vice principal of the arts faculty and was also the joint secretary to the managing board. So we now welcome Sister Priya Mirpuri to give a talk on the power of prayer.
Yeah, the class is not there tomorrow. Om Shri Sai Ram. Pranams at the lotus feet of Lord and Master, Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Bal. The topic we're going to take up now is prayer. We have words like Namasmaran, prayer, meditation. They have slightly different meanings. Namasmaran means remembering God and chanting repeatedly God's name. It's one of the spiritual practices which can be adopted by an aspirant to reach God. Swami says God has 1,000,000 names. Choose any name which catches your fancy. And you can go on chanting that name and meditating on the form. There are people who say we do not have time for meditation, for chanting, or for prayers. You don't require any special time to say a prayer or to remember God. You can remember God while you're walking, while you're eating, just before you sleep, when you're cooking, when you're traveling by train, traveling by bus, at any time. Even when you're sitting and watching TV instead of wasting your time over crime and violence, it's better to spend time in ruminating about God. The name, however, has to be recited with love, with reverence and devotion, not mechanically. Because if you say it mechanically, it does not reach the Lord. You have to say it with a pure mind. In fact, Swami once asked his students, do your prayers reach God? And some of the students said, yes, Swami. The other said, no, Swami, sometimes our prayers are not answered. So Baba said, why is it that your prayers are not being answered? And the boys had no reply. So Baba said, okay, supposing you want to write a letter to me, what would you do? Let's say we take a paper and we start writing pranams at the lotus feet and we write whatever we want to write. And then what would you do? We'd fold the paper, put it in an envelope, and we would write the address, including Prashanti Nilayam, Andhra Pradesh, pin code, and we would post it. Will the letter reach me? All the boys said, yes, Swami, we write the right address. Baba said, no, the letter will not reach me. Why? Because you've forgotten to put the stamp on the envelope. The postage stamp, PS. Without the stamp, the letter will not reach the person you address it to. Similarly, PS in our life is a personal sadhana. Without this personal sadhana, your mind will not get purified. If your minds are not purified, the prayers do not reach God. It's only the prayers of a pure mind which reach God. So please remember, when you're chanting, it has to be with love, with devotion,
and with reverence, not artificially. Okay, we go on to the slides now. Yeah, this is what I was telling you, that it is a prescription for peace and for contentment. And you have to chant this name daily with love and with devotion. This will yield good results. This is a habit which you should cultivate for the life which you've been given. And this will help you to reach liberation. Namasmaran means remembering and chanting God's name. But what is prayer? Prayer is conversing with God. It is a dialogue which you have with God. It's talking to God. And meditation is listening to God. So in prayer, you are talking. In meditation, God is talking and you are listening. So Namasmarana, or repeating God's name, is a spiritual practice. And as I've mentioned, this is the best thing which can be done in the Kali Yuga to help us to achieve salvation. Now, prayer is our greatest weapon. In fact, if most of you remember the Air India crash which took place, not a single person survived. And you know what Swami has said about it? That even if one passenger, even if one person on the plane had chanted the Gayatri mantra, all of them would have been saved. So when you're chanting, when you're praying, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting everyone else who is within that radius or who's in your thoughts. Now, how we pray is very important. Sometimes we pray very mechanically. Sometimes we pray for something which we do not actually require. Sometimes we pray for something which God does not give us. Swami says, some prayers I answer with a yes. Your prayer is answered immediately. For some prayers, we have to wait. Why? Because the time is not right. And for many other prayers, God does not answer our prayers. God does not give us what we want because He has something better for us. He has planned something better for us. Now, when do we pray? You can pray in the morning when you get up. So you're thanking God for yet another day, a day when you can be on the path of dharma and righteousness, a day when you can serve society, a day when you can see to it that whatever you do becomes a kind of help to others. You become a role model for others. You can pray when you're having a bath. The Gayatri mantra is the best thing you can say when you're having a bath. Pray before your meals, before eating, the Brahma Arpana, and pray at night before you sleep. The self-audit, and thank God for everything that He's given us. And also see what is it that you went wrong, where did you go wrong, and pray that you do not commit the same mistakes the next day. Now, God always responds in His own way. There was a gentleman who felt that he wanted to start some sadhana, but he did not know what to do. So he was waiting. He thought he will get a cue from Swami. And one day when he was listening to Swami's discourse, Swami spoke about the efficacy of the Gayatri mantra. So he said, oh, this is what I should do. I should start chanting the Gayatri. So religiously, every night before going to bed, he would take his japmala and he would say the Gayatri 108 times. Those are the number of beads in one mala. So he would say it every night with a lot of devotion and then go to sleep. But weeks went by, months went by, and there was no response from Swami. Swami was not going near him. Swami was not looking at him. He was not smiling at him. He was not taking his letters. So he felt maybe what I'm doing is not right. Maybe I should change the mantra I'm chanting. Maybe I should say
Not audible. Naveen? Naveen? Sai Ram, Naveen? हाँ नवीन क्या हुआ? Sister Priya is having some network issues, so she'll be back very soon. We're just trying to help. So please bear with us. Inconvenience.
You have to unmute Maya.
okay. Can you all see me and hear me now?
Yeah, now it's okay. Now,
So this gentleman was chanting the Gayatri mantra, and for months together, it's echoing. For months together, for years together, there was no response from Swami. But as I mentioned, once he got duty in the veranda, where Swami used to sleep in his room, and he kept his bedding on the side. One afternoon, Baba came out of his room because he wanted to go across the balcony to the other side. And as he passed this gentleman's bedding, he saw a japmala which had come out from the under the pillow, the slightly protruding out. So Baba bent down and he picked up the japmala and he asked the gentleman, "Whose is this? Is it yours?" So the gentleman said, "Yes, Swami." "Oh, so you're saying the Gayatri every night 108 times. Very good." Now, this was the response he was waiting for years together, and he got it a couple of years after he had started chanting.
Oh,
All right? So, how we pray and when we pray is very important. There was a little boy who was studying in Baba's college, Baba's school rather at that time. And one day Baba went to the hostel. It was lunchtime. And as Baba entered, the students were all ready with their plates, were about to sit down to have their meal. And before the meal, they always chant Brahma. So they started chanting Brahma. There was a little boy who felt that God himself is here and we're offering the food to him. Why not offer it to him quickly? So they go up, this boy goes up to Baba and offers his plate. Baba takes something from his plate, and the boy is very happy that Baba has partaken something from his plate. And then he goes back. And afterwards, Baba tells everyone who was near him that, there was a chili in the vada. And if that boy had eaten it, it would have troubled him. So I took away the chili, and he was happy that I had partaken the food and I had blessed it. So how we pray, when we pray is important, and God always responds in his own way.
गन्नू, ये फिर से आ गई यार केमिस्ट्री। हमेशा वाट लगाती है। बस 35 दिला दो, पास करा दो, और कुछ नहीं चाहिए।
35? सिर्फ 35? अरे तेरे मेहनत के लिए तुझे ज्यादा मिलना चाहिए। ऐसी प्रार्थना क्यों कर रहे हो?
ഭഗവാനെ, എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് 25 വയസ്സായി. ഇതുവരെ അവളുടെ വിവാഹം നടന്നിട്ടില്ല. അവിടുന്ന് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണേ. എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് എന്റെ മകൾക്ക് ഒരു നല്ല വരനെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു തരണേ.
കാത്തിരിക്കൂ, പാവം. ആദ്യം നിന്റെ മക്കൾ അവളുടെ PhD ഒന്ന് തീർക്കട്ടെ. സമയത്തിൽ അവൾക്കൊരു നല്ല പുരുഷൻ വരും. എല്ലാം മംഗളമായി നടക്കും.
Lord Ganesha, my mom just told me to offer this to you. It's just grass. Anyway, here goes. I don't know what to ask you, but bless me, I guess.
Guess what? I'll always be with you, dear. Even if all you offer me is grass, I'll shower you with grace.
হে গণেশা, আমার ছেলে সব সময় আইপ্যাড দেখে, পড়ার সময়, খাওয়ার সময়। প্লিজ গণেশা, তুমি ওকে এই অ্যাডিকশন থেকে বার করে দাও। ওর যেন আর এই অ্যাডিকশন না থাকে। প্লিজ গণেশা, প্লিজ।
দেখো দেখো, কে বলছে অ্যাডিকশন দূর করার কথা? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আমি করব। আগে বলো, চলের আইপ্যাড এডিকশন दूर করব না তোমার মোবাইল এডিকশন दूर করব?
भगवान, हमारी कंपनी की ओर से हम हजारों लोगों का अन्नदान करते आए हैं। आज का डील 100 करोड़ का डील है। बस ये डील अगर पक्की हो गई तो मैं वादा करता हूँ कि और सेवा करूंगा, अन्नदान के साथ वस्त्रदान भी। प्लीज यार, 100 करोड़ का डील है।
सेवा त्याग होती है, कोई डील नहीं। मुझसे करोड़ों की आशा करते हो ताकि लाखों रुपए दान में खर्च करें। सेवा तुम्हारे उद्धार के लिए है, दूसरों के लिए नहीं।
Okay. Go back. Yeah. If you never thank God after every smile, then you have no right to blame him for every tear. God doesn't always change our situation, but he uses the situation to change us. And remember, God's grace is like a bank. You can draw grace only to the extent of your deposits of prayer, of meditation, of seva, of chanting the name of the Lord, and of sacrifice. God has no phone, but you can still talk to him. He has no Facebook, but you can still be his friend. He doesn't have Twitter, but you can still follow him while praying. Don't give God instructions, just report for duty. In fact, there was a little girl who used to go running to the temple near our house. She was very small, maybe 3-4 years old. And she would go there, look at the deity, close her eyes, say something, pray. and come out, run joyfully, go back home. And the pujari used to always wonder, this girl is too small. What does she know about prayer? What does she know about spirituality that she comes here so regularly? So one day he asks her, Beta, you come here so often and you close your eyes and you say something. What are you doing? She said, I'm saying my prayers. He said, oh, you're saying your prayer, and what do you pray? She said, I tell God that I know only the alphabets from A to Z. So I chant A, B, C, D till the end. And I tell God, God, all the prayers come from these alphabets. So you please choose the alphabets which are right for me, and that is my prayer for you today. So she was not giving God any instructions. She was just going there, feeling happy, and letting God take the decision for her life. So remember, God has 4 gifts for you: a key for every problem, a light for every shadow, a plan for every tomorrow, and a joy for every sorrow. This is a prayer given by Swami. I am God, I am God. I am not different from God. I am Akhand Parabrahman. I am Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Grief and anxiety cannot affect me. Fear cannot enter me. I am ever content. I am God. I am God. I am not different from God. In fact, Baba says that I am God. I know it. But you are also God, which you do not know. And that's why Baba had come down to make us realize that we are also divine. What are the different types of prayers? One is individual and collective. Individual is when you're praying either for yourself or you're praying for somebody else, maybe somebody who's not well, or you're praying for your neighbor, or you're praying for your teacher. So individual prayers. Collective is when all of you sit together and you sing together, you have bhajans together, you have community singing, you have community prayers that becomes collective, where the vibrations are stronger. Then there's a prayer of praise when you're saying a stotra, that there's stutis. You're praising the Lord, you're praising Saraswati, you're praising Lakshmi Ma. You're saying, God, you are divine. God, you are somebody who can always look after me. You are loving. So that is prayer of praise. Prayer of faith, when you have faith that whatever God does is going to be good for you. Prayer of request. We always have something which we keep asking God. That's a prayer of request. Prayer of thanksgiving, when something happens which you were praying for and you're happy that God has answered your prayer, you say thank you to God. And at night before sleeping, you say your prayer for forgiveness. Karacharana. Okay. So these are the different kinds of prayers which we can always remember. Now the 5 fingers can teach us a lot about prayers. The thumb is the finger which is closest to you. So pray for people who are very close to you. It could be your family, it could be your neighbors, anybody who's very close to you. Then the next finger is the index finger. The index finger is the finger which points, which instructs. So people who teach you, who instruct your teachers, pray so that they get the support and wisdom so that they can direct you properly. The third finger is the tallest finger. It reminds us of people who are of importance in our country, the government, the leaders, the politicians. Pray that they can use their wisdom to guide the country properly. The fourth finger is the ring finger, which is supposed to be the weakest finger. But always remember that you must pray for those who are weak, those who are sick, those who have a lot of problems, those who are in poverty. They also need your prayers. And the last finger is the tiniest finger. It is the finger which should remind you of yourself. After you prayed for everyone, you know what should be your prayer. Your prayer comes in the right perspective. And then you will know what you should pray for. So you don't pray just for material things, but you pray for something which is more important. The power of prayer. First, when you pray, you must first of all pray with a pure mind. And then you should visualize what you are praying for. And then only it actualizes. Let's take an example. Supposing you are to appear for an exam. You will pray that God, let me do very well in the exam. If you want a first class, you want distinction, you're going to pray for that. And you visualize that the day of the result, everyone is congratulating you because you've done very well. When you pray and you visualize, it actually takes a shape, and that is actualization. Or if you have a problem with your mother-in-law, a problem with your boss, pray that your boss or your mother-in-law or your friend, whoever you have a kind of a problem, pray that the things become better and smoother, and visualize that that person is becoming better in his responsibility, better in his response to you. And when you pray and you visualize, things actually manifest and they happen. These are some prayers. My prayer for you today, I pray that God would lift you up in his hand, comfort you with his love, wipe every tear from your eye, strengthen you to face the day. I pray that God would remind you that you are never alone and you are loved more than you could imagine by him, by me, and by everyone. So pray hardest when it is hardest to pray. Now, what are the benefits of prayer? One is it makes us calm and serene. If you look at the face of a person who prays, you will see a lot of radiance on that person's face. So it makes you calm, it makes you serene. It heals people. There are many people who have got cured amazingly just by the power of prayer. I share with you an example. This is a miracle which happened, and it has been narrated by Dr. V. Mohan, the famous diabetologist from Chennai. This was at a time when he was not so much into the Sai food. One day there was a gentleman who came to him and he had a skin infection on his leg. And the doctor put him on medication, but the wound did not heal at all. It became worse day by day. And after a couple of weeks, couple of months, since nothing was happening, the leg was becoming paler and weaker. And the tissues, which are normally pink, they were losing their color. They were becoming pale and white and yellow. So the doctor felt that maybe we'll have to resort to amputation of his leg. So they tell the gentleman that your leg is not healing. We don't want to take any more chances. We may have to amputate your leg. Now, this person was a very devout soul. He told the doctor, give me one more day. So the doctor said, okay, since we waited for so many months, one more day won't matter. So they waited. The next day, when the doctor went to the hospital to see the gentleman, he was sitting up in bed and he was smiling away. I said, doctor, my leg is okay. You don't have to resort to amputation. So Dr. Mohan was aghast. He said, what happened? He said, Baba came and Baba said, your leg is okay. You don't have to get it amputated. I said, Baba came? Have you had a dream? No. Baba came here to the hospital. He came here. He sat on the bed here and he pointed out the place where Baba came and he sat. Oh, he came and he sat on his bed. Yes. And what did he do? And the gentleman said, Baba stroked my leg. And he said, don't worry, everything will be okay. And there will be no amputation. So the doctor was still in doubt. Maybe this person must have seen a vision or must have dreamt something. He said, what about all the other people who were there? Because this gentleman was not in a separate room by himself. He was in a general ward. And this gentleman said, nobody saw Baba. They were all fast asleep. But Baba came, I'm telling you, he came, he sat here, he was full of love and he told me everything will be okay. Doctor, open the bandage and see, I'm sure things must have changed. The doctor very hesitantly opens the bandage, but to his amazement, he sees that the skin which had become pale and which had become yellow was now showing signs of pink tissues and of life being regenerated. And to make a long story short, the gentleman became okay and he did not have to resort to amputation. So that was the power of prayer. That prayer also helps us to cope with our pain. This is about a Muslim gentleman, again narrated by Dr. Mohan. There was a Muslim gentleman who was a leader in Chennai, leader of the Muslim community, a very, very prominent person. He had a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of following, and he was a person who was looked up to. One day he had to undergo, he had to undergo an operation. And after the operation, the doctor put him on very strong medicine, narcotics. But he had a lot of pain and he could not sleep at night. The next day when the doctor went to visit him, he told the doctor, I could not sleep at night. Please give me something stronger because I want to sleep. I've not had a wink sleep at night. Dr. Mohan said, we've given you the strongest drugs. We can't give anything more than this. You'll have to cope with the pain. He said, no, I can't manage with the pain. Doctor, you have to do something. Please, I beg of you. Now, Dr. Mohan was at his wit's end. He did not know what to do. So he said, okay, close your eyes. The Muslim gentleman closed his eyes. Dr. Mohan took out a ring which had been given by Baba to him. And he rubbed that ring on the gentleman's forehead. And he said a silent prayer to Baba. He said, Baba, I can't do anything beyond this. I'm surrendering to you. You take over. The Muslim gentleman needs your help. Please relieve him of his pain and his suffering. He said that prayer. And afterwards, he told the Muslim gentleman, to open his eyes. And the Muslim gentleman opened his eyes. And very quickly, he did not want questions to be asked as to what he had done. So he said, okay, sleep now. Good night. I will see you tomorrow. He did not want any cross-examination and he left. When he went outside, he told the nurse, if he's in pain, give him the same medicine again and let me know at night. At 10:30 at night, the nurse calls up the doctor. Doctor, he's fast asleep. Should I give him an injection? Doctor said, no. If he's asleep, let him sleep. Don't disturb him. And then the next day when the doctor went to see this Muslim gentleman, the gentleman was all smiles. Doctor, thank you very much. I slept very well. But what did you do? How did I get such good sleep? And Dr. Mohan said, no, nothing. I didn't do anything. No, doctor, you must tell me. You did something. I know you made me close my eyes. What did you do? So Dr. Mohan had to honestly tell him, he said, I prayed to Sathya Sai Baba to cure you of your pain and your suffering and to help you to sleep. And the Muslim gentleman was so much touched by this. He said, oh, Sai Baba is God. Sai Baba is God. You all are so lucky you can go and see him. I will not be able to go because if I do that, my entire community will ostracize me. But I will definitely pray to him every day. And Dr. Mohan gives him Baba's card, Baba's photograph, and the vibhuti. And the Muslim gentleman was always very happy, very thankful, was very full of gratitude that Baba had cured him of his pain. It also helps us in our spiritual progress. Our faith increases, our ego is reduced. I'll play a video here to show you how God is so humble that we need to learn from God.
And Swami was humming this bhajan, Hara Hara Shankara Samba Sada Shiva Isha Mahesha. And it was a truly beautiful moment. Me just right there next to Swami, everything else silent, and Swami was humming. And suddenly I heard silence again. And I probably had my eyes closed. I don't know, I was quite lost. And I looked at Swami, and Swami looked at me and said, Yemi, what? You know what Swami tells me after that? But I can't sing like you all. And I was blown. I went down, left the saris and held Swami's feet. And Swami, you can't tell us this. The Lord of the universe. And he says, no, I can't sing like you all. And I don't know, it just brings tears to my eyes every time I think how Lord of the universe could come down and say such things. But this is what he teaches us. That if Swami can say such a thing, don't we all have something to learn in life every day? We don't have to think that we have reached the pinnacle of anything. We are all on the way there, yes. But we have to realize that we are all on the way. And there is always something more to reach, something more to get, to achieve. And that something is this purity of heart with love and humility for him. So these Sai Bhajans, which is, Swami says that do this Namasmarana, dig a borewell deep into your heart through Namasmarana and bring out that Sai love. So we are all so lucky that in this age of Kali, Namasmarana, and Swami himself has said in his discourses that there is nothing dearer to me than bhajans. He said, people say that when you go to Prashanti Nilayam, nothing happens there other than bhajans. And Swami said, believe that there is nothing dearer than bhajans for me.
So that was how God shows his humility. He was humming the bhajan, but then he tells Ravi Kumar, I can't sing like you all. And imagine a God who has created the universe saying that. Prayer can also help us to have positive thoughts. Positive thoughts like whatever's happening is good for me. I'm happy, I'm contented. Always have these positive thoughts. It entitles us to receive God's grace and to improve our quality of life. There's a very moving incident which happened with Vinay Kumar. One day Baba goes up to him in Puttaparthi, and he was supposed to go to Bangalore. And he tells Baba, we're going to Bangalore. So Baba says, oh, you're going to Bangalore. Is wife also going with you? So Vinay was a little perturbed as to why is Baba asking this question, because they used to always go together and come back together. He said, yes, Swami, wife is also going with me. So Baba looked up for a minute and then he said, okay. Vinay and his wife left Puttaparthi to go to Bangalore. And on the way, they went in a white Wagon R car. And on the way, they met with a horrific accident where a Volvo bus crashed into them face on. It was head-on like crash. The wife was thrown out of the car. She was bleeding profusely. He was also injured, but he was still conscious. She had become unconscious. And it was a place where normally cars would not pass by. But at that moment, another car came by and the gentleman helped them to reach Bangalore. She was admitted to the general hospital there. The doctors checked her and they said, she's gone cold. She's not there. So Vinay was very upset. He said, no, not possible. Please check properly again. The doctor said, look, she's not there. She's become cold. So Vinay rang up Puttaparthi, he spoke to the seniors who were there and he said, please tell Swami that this is what has happened. So Swami said, I know. Tell him to tell the doctor to give her an injection. So he tells the doctor, please give her an injection. The doctor looks at him as if he was a person who was mad. He said, are you mad? How can I give an injection to a body? She's no longer there. She's dead. He said, no, but give her an injection. Sathya Sai Baba has said that you must give her an injection. What do you lose by doing that? So doctor didn't want to argue with this gentleman. So he told the nurse, give her an injection. When the nurse gave the injection, the body, which we thought had no life, suddenly said, ah. So when I said, see, she's alive. How could you say she's not there? And the doctor was also quite flabbergasted. They moved her, took her for all the various tests and all. When I went to his house in Bangalore, and when he entered the kitchen, he saw a lot of glass pieces on the floor. He asked the lady who was looking after the house, where did these glass pieces come from? What broke? She said, sir, nothing is broken. I don't know from where the glass pieces have come. Anyway, the mystery was not solved. He went back to the hospital after a couple of weeks when she was okay. They went back to Puttaparthi. And when Baba saw her, he said, I'm giving you a second life. I've given you a second life. This life, you will use it only for seva. Then he went to Vinay and he said, remember, in your kitchen, there were those glass pieces. That was the windshield. When the Volvo crashed head on, if I had not diverted the glass pieces, the steering wheel, the windshield glass would have gone straight into your face, your wife's face, into your eyes, and that would have been catastrophic. So I had to divert it, and I had to divert it to your kitchen. That's why all the glass pieces were there in your kitchen. And you were standing there on the divider, looking at your wife in pain. I was also there. I was waiting for you to call me, but you did not have the presence of mind to call me. But anyway, God did his duty, and Vinay received the grace which he was entitled to. So remember, whenever God is there on your side, nothing untoward can happen. If something happens also, it's because of karma, but he'll help you to get over it. So we go on to the next slide now. Prayer helps you to have chemicals which will keep you happy. In prayer, the frontal lobe takes the lead, and the parietal lobe is subdued so that your earthly moorings become less important. These are the important chemicals: dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, and serotonin. These will keep you in a happy state of mind when you keep praying. Money is a small coin, health is a big coin. Love is a lucky coin, friendship is a sweet coin. But remember, our relationship with God is a gold coin. So always keep it safe. The Sai organization has played a very important role. It does play a very important role for all of us. It teaches us the importance of namasmarana, meditation, silent sitting, prayer. It increases our faith and devotion. It is very beneficial during these times where there's so much of stress and anxiety. And during COVID, especially when we could not move out, we could be online and have our bhajans online. We have online activities even now. And there is bhajans, sharing of experiences. We have Bal Vikas programs. All this is what the Sai organization has done in order to make our life better, easier, smoother, and more happy. Now, how do we remain positive? Have faith in God. Practice discrimination. Before you do something, think, is it the right thing I'm doing? Should I say what I'm about to say? Is this right? Is this wrong? Is it just? Is it unjust? Is it fair? Is it not fair? So practice discrimination. Wait, let the heart decide before your hands actually take action. Attend bhajans. Meditate in the morning. Pray whenever you can. Control desires, because desires go on multiplying. One will lead to the other. The fewer desires you have, the happier you will be. Keep away from temptations. Perform selfless seva. And always be contented. Always be happy. That's the way to remain positive. On that positive note, thank you very much. Sai Ram to everyone. All the best. And remember, whatever little prayer you say with a pure heart will definitely reach the Lord. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Sister Priya, for that wonderful explanation of the technique of prayer. It was so beautifully explained, and I'm sure everybody has understood the significance of prayer because it is a very important teaching technique for all the groups. Thank you once again. So we now go on to the next topic, that is Indian culture, and for that we have Sister Rama Sampath, who is Sri Sathya Sai Bal Vikas alumnus, a very senior Bal Vikas guru, editor of the Sri Sathya Sai Bal Vikas magazine, and also faculty at the National Leadership Program and also the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Education at Dharmakshetra. Professionally, she was assistant manager at the NABARD Bank for several years. So we now hand over the mic to Rama, Sister Rama Sampath, who will be talking to us on Indian culture. Rama?
Yeah, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, and can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So the topic that I have been given today is Bharatiya culture and spirituality. So why Bharatiya culture and spirituality? Because this is the need of the hour today. Like every avatar comes for what? Every avatar comes for Dharma Sanstapana. So is the case with our Sai avatar also. But in the Treta Yuga, he had the Vanara Sena. And in Dwapar Yuga, there were the Pandavas. Well, in Kali Yuga, Swami says, what is the purpose of this Dharma Samstapana and what is the basis? He says, the basis of Dharma Samstapana is balvikas. Balvikas has to be the root. In fact, balvikas is going to play a very great role to restore dharma in this world. So Swami has a lot of hope on the children and the gurus. So that is why we have a great responsibility entrusted to us, because we are the Sena of Swami and we are shaping the children who are going to be the army who will aid in Dharma Sanstapana. And Dharma Sanstapana, you're wondering what it has got to do with Bharatiya culture and spirituality. So let us see. Can you see my screen fully? Or yes, you can see?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now what is culture? Culture is the way we talk, the way we conduct ourselves. It includes our tradition, the way we dress, our practices, the food that we eat, the festivals we celebrate, our language. Everything comprises culture. But to put it very, very crisply, Swami says culture is actually a way of life since it encompasses everything that we do. And this culture, how is it connected to spirituality? Now, Swami explains spirituality as the spirit of love, the spirit of love that is unchanging and that is permanent. So, this culture is derived from the spirit of love. In other words, where there is no love, there can be no culture. So, culture is a part of spirituality. Now, Bharatiya culture has certain core principles. First of all, it talks about the oneness of all beings, kinship with all, and guided by the perspective of truth, unity of all existence, and universality of God. These are the core principles of Bharatiya culture. Swami says there are many persons who do not understand what culture is, and like I told you earlier, he says culture is as simple as that it is a way of life. We discussed this earlier. And culture is also known as Sanskriti. हम लोग बोलते हैं संस्कृति. Sanskriti, what is the meaning of Sanskriti? Sanskriti means refinement. It means removing all our bad qualities, bad thoughts, bad actions. And our country is just not this map or a piece of land. It is you and I who comprise this great country. So, for us to propagate our culture, so first we have to be practicing our own culture. We have to connect to our roots. But sadly, this is missing today, according to Swami, because of the Western education. Yes, now I am speaking to you in English because this is a direct impact of Western education, by which this has become a language of communication. So Swami says that today's children, they know mathematics, but they do not know simple arithmetics. He goes on to say that they know the route to United States of America, but they do not know the route to Benares. He says they are adept in gymnastics, but They do not know how to sit comfortably in Padmasana. He says children today are experts in botany, but they do not know the value of the tulsi plant. And he says they know geometry, they know trigonometry, but they wouldn't know what is the plinth area of their house. He says this is the sad state of children who are under the impact of Western education. Why only children? Now, what was the purpose of the Western education? Do you know? It was Lord Macaulay who said the purpose of English education should be to create a set of people who are actually very much Indian in their looks and in their blood.
Slides are not going forward. No, I'll just tell you. I think I will.
But these people will be very much Western in their thoughts, in their taste, in their morals, and in their intellect. So, to a great extent, Lord Macaulay and the British have succeeded in this.
Sairam Rama,
Huh? Yes?
your slides are not going forward. It is not in that mode.
No, because I'm not switched it forward.
Okay. So you'll be doing that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, everything that I talk need not be on the slide, isn't
Okay. Sure. Somebody was asking that.
it? No. The slides will move.
Yeah.
Okay. Where was I? I was trying to tell you that the impact of Western education on us. So much so that we feel that everything related to West is aspirational. We associate Western education with being modern, being advanced. And let us take little things today. Let us take any pop group which is going to perform in India. So the show is normally sold out. But what about our own artists? It is very sad, our own artists, whether they are singers or whether they are dancers, they do not get the same support that we actually give it to the Western artists. So, is it what is wrong with us is what we need to introspect. Does it mean that anything that is Indian is we are not interested in, or are we obsessed with everything that is Western? It is this introspection that we need to do today. Because if we go on to see, although the West is advanced, it doesn't actually relate to what actually happened in the ancient times. You would be shocked to know that all the discoveries almost had their basis in Bharat, because everything in Bharat, all the knowledge was derived from the Vedas. And the Vedas not only cater to the spiritual arena, whether it was science, whether it was arts, whether it was engineering, the different sects of the Veda catered, medicine catered to all these things. For example, the Ayurveda. The Ayurveda comes from the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda. And the Sama Veda, all the Gandharva Veda, the forms of art, music, dance comes from Sama Veda. Then we have the Yajur Veda. Yajur Veda stood for the warfare. The military warfare, the knowledge of that comes from Yajur Veda. Atharva Veda, the knowledge of engineering, technology, all this is based on Atharva Veda. We feel Pythagoras invented the Pythagoras theorem, isn't it? But before this, sage Baudhyayana was credited with having discovered the Pythagoras theorem. But Pythagoras himself studied under several sages. So through them he got the knowledge, and that was how this discovery was attributed to him. This was the case was even with take the case of plastic surgery. We look towards West for plastic surgery, but it was sage Sushruta who was the master in plastic surgery. And what about aviation? We actually attribute this to our Wright brothers. But there were aerial chariots even in the age of Treta Yuga. How did it all come about? It was sage Bharadwaja who is supposed to have excelled in this aerial vehicles. So these are just examples to say that Veda, the very meaning of the word Veda is knowledge. So it was just not spiritual knowledge alone, but from this spiritual knowledge evolved knowledge of all forms. But all this we were made to forget. The Westerners, the Britishers were wanted to do only one thing. They wanted us to forget our own culture, the richness of our heritage, and that we do not connect to our roots. And that is why we have been lying in deep slumber. But I can tell with confidence that Mera Bharat Badal Raha Hai. There is a lot of awakening taking place, and more people now say, Garv se kaho, hum Bharatiya hai. And we should always take pride in the past achievements. In fact, Baba says, as far as character is concerned, we only talk about individual character. Swami says that apart from individual character, what is important is also national character. And Swami gives 4 dimensions to this national character. He says national character, first of all, is having pride. This is what I was talking about now. Having pride in the past history, in the past achievements. That is extremely important to build our national character. Second, to have ambition for the future greatness of the country. It's very easy for us to ask people now, what do you want to become? Everybody says, I want to become a doctor or an engineer, or I want to excel in IT. But Swami says we also need to have an ambition for the future greatness of the country. In the sense, I can always link my individual ambition to the ambition of the country. I want to become a scientist because I want India to go ahead in several things. So now let us say that we landed on the south pole of the moon. Now this was done with great effort of our scientists. Now happenings like this, we should first be inspired. Then only we can inspire the children who come to us. In the interview that Swami gave us, Andheri and Bandra gurus, we had taken the children. So one of the gurus asked Swami, हम कैसे बदलाव लाएंगे बच्चे में? Transformation. Swami said, you do not worry about transformation. I will take care of it. But you have to talk about the lives of great men in your country, lives of great men from the scriptures. So, first, for us, it is to be inspired by the lives of these great men. These great men are not only our freedom fighters. It is very important to discuss our freedom fighters. Swami himself talks about Subhash Chandra Bose. See, we have a tendency only to talk about Mahatma Gandhi, but there are so many freedom fighters about whom we need to discuss in class. Veer Savarkar, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, the list is endless. I'm sure all over Bharat, there have been people who have fought for the freedom of our country in their own ways. So we need to bring them the flavor of Bharat from all over the country. We need to regale them with stories from their lives. What about contemporary great men? Contemporary great men is what we also need to discuss. The scientists who are behind the Chandrayaan and the scientists who actually helped in developing the vaccine. Are we discussing these in class? We have to discuss these in class so that children feel that tomorrow, in fact, after all these things have happened, in fact, children have a new ambition. Everybody says in the class, I want to become a scientist because they are inspired by the scientists who made all these things possible. So, for our part, it is important to bring these. See, syllabus, the Balvika syllabus is only a means to an end. There is nothing all that we should not be discussing these things. We have to be talking about the greatness of our countrymen, and that alone will inspire the children to have future ambition, like Baba says, future ambition for the greatness of the country. Third, Swami says we need to have affection for our motherland. That is patriotism. Fourth, love for our mother tongue. This is what we need to insist with the children and with the parents, that they speak in their mother tongue. Even if they do not have it as a subject, parents should teach the children. Okay, if the parents do not know it, let it be a combined effort. Let it be an assignment that they will learn to read and write and speak in their mother tongue. Swami himself is a living example of this. That does not undermine the fact that we should not be learning other languages, but it is important for us to learn our language. So now all these are facets of national character. And this definitely, Swami says, devotion to God is very important. But he says devotion to one's motherland is as important as devotion to God. So Sanskriti and national character have a link. And that is why I branched out to this national character. Now let us see, like I told you, Bharatiya culture has its base in the Vedas. So, Vedas, and what do the Vedas say? What the Vedas say is, we need to see here at that is what is Bharatiya culture. Swami says if you're going to practice everything that is said in the Vedas, you are actually practicing Bharatiya culture. At the individual level, Bharatiya culture is nothing but Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. Dharmam Chara is extremely important, but this comes from Satyam Vada. Truth and Dharma. We always abide by Dharma, and that will always hold us good in any challenging situation. Talk about the life of Sri Ram. He was an embodiment of Dharma. That is why it is said the life of Rama, it transcends barriers of caste, creed, religion, because he was this Maryada Purusha. So, Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara, I'm not going into the detail, I do not have time. I'm giving you a glimpse of what is culture about. At the family level, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. All this is practicing Bharatiya culture at family level. At society level, what is Bharatiya culture? Bharatiya culture is love all and serve all. That is practice of culture at the society level. At the national level, we discuss the national character. That alone will lead us to Janani Janma Bhumischa Swargatapi Gariyasi. We all know that when Rama was asked whether he would like to rule over Lanka, that is what he said. Just because your mother is not as good looking as the other women, would you change your mother? He said, for me, Ayodhya, that is Janani, Janma Bhumischa, mother and motherland are far greater than heaven. At the universal level, practice of Bharatiya culture is Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Bharatiya culture, the very foundation of Bharatiya culture is in Sanatana Dharma. And Sanatana Dharma, the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbaka, has come from Sanatana Dharma. And that, when we expand this, it is nothing but Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Sanatana Dharma, in fact, is nothing but tolerance and tolerance and tolerance. That is why Bharat has been the land where so many other religions have flourished. We have always respected other religions. But we should always be practitioners of our own religion. This children should not shy away from practicing our own culture. If you are a Hindu, be a better Hindu, says Swami. If you are a Christian, be a better Christian. So why should we shy away from being a better Hindu? When we are a better Hindu, it does not mean we are disrespecting other religions. Look at this chess master, Pragyananda. Have you seen him? He always sports a beautiful vibhuti. So why do we feel shy to wear our religion on our sleeves? That comes by understanding all our festivals. This has to be brought out to the children, the inner significance of all the festivals and our traditions and all our practices, because there is a scientific reason in every practice. So these are the 5 levels which you need to remember, and I would like to go ahead. Swami says these beautiful words. He says students should learn to harmonize their ancient culture and tradition with the needs of the modern world. So our ancient culture and tradition should not be given up, but they have to be harmonized with whatever is needed today in today's world. This is important. Swami says neither the parents nor the teachers or the elders or the rulers are competent to instruct the children on the glory of Bharat. He says they have no knowledge of the culture and faith and the values. They do not practice disciplines. How can they develop in children devotion to God and love for our culture? He says, hence I have taken upon the task of educating the children about the glory of Bharat. Yes, and Balvikas is the medium for educating the children about the glory of Bharat. And like Swami has told us here, first we need to connect to our culture, to our roots. Then only we will be able to tell the children what is the glory of Bharat. We discussed all this. Yes, now we come to these 5 yagnas which are very important in the life of a householder in Sanatana Dharma, and let us see how it connects to our culture. We have the Deva Yagna, Rishi Yagna, Pitru Yagna, Atiti Yagna, and Bhuta Yagna. Deva Yagna, yes. Deva Yagna, we always say it is worshipping God. Now, we should always talk about the beautiful temples in our Bharat. We should talk about Ahilyabai Holkar, who spent her life reviving and rejuvenating the temples. And why visit temples? We need to tell them. Swami himself has visited Badrinath, Kedarnath, and so many other temples to re-energize them. What is Pran Pratishta? Now we saw what is Pran Pratishta when we saw the beautiful temple at Ayodhya being inaugurated. Pran Pratishta, in fact, the sculptor who was Arun Yogiraj, he said after the Pran Pratishta, the idol of Ram Lalla looked extremely changed, was completely transformed. It remains an idol, just an idol. But after Pran Pratishtha, all the rituals, all the practices, in fact, whoever was presiding over it, the Prime Minister had himself had to undergo a lot of severe practices. In the sense, he had to undergo a fast, he visited so many temples. So now, all these rituals and practices infuse life into the murti. It comes alive, and we saw it coming alive on 22nd January. The importance of discussing temples of India and telling the parents, inspiring the parents to tell them to take the children around Bharat first. It's not wrong to go outside, but our country is beautiful. Let us see the wonders of our temple. We spoke about what is culture, Sanskriti. We move over to Rishi Yagna, this is scriptures. Yes. And we have the Gayatri Mantra, the mother of the Vedas. So now this is very, very important. Gayatri Mantra, for it improves not only our memory, it gives us a sense of discrimination. So Rishi Yagna, how so well it is connected with this. Pitru Yagna, we saw it was linked to Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Not only respecting our parents after they die by performing the ceremonies, but by respecting them when they are alive, is what we spoke about in family level culture, is honoring our parents. Atiti Yagna. Who is an Atiti? So it is not just a person living next who comes to your door. Whoever is in need of help is your Atiti. Bhuta Yagna. Bhuta Yagna is worshipping God in all forms. That is what our ancient ancestors believed in this. They worshipped every aspect of nature. So, whether it is plants, whether it is animals. So, reverence. Non violence does not only mean not hurting, non violence means having a sense of reverence, respect for every creation around. And that is what Bhuta Yagna advocates. Finally, culture must bring about this transformation of character, and the different facets of it starts with little things: regularity, punctuality, simple living, high thinking, unity of thought, word, and deed, sense control, compassion, and charity. All the age old traditions we need to discuss. I do not have time again to go into it. The Rangoli, the aspect of Rangoli, it was even for the birds, it was not done with those colors. Earlier we used to do, I remember my grandmother doing it on the road, when they used to bring the gods, and she used to excel in this. We as children have noticed her doing it. And the birds come and eat this with rice ka atta, and the ants feed on it. So now all these age-old traditions, why we light the lamp, it is for dispelling the darkness within, and to light the lamp of love, and to light several lamps with one lamp. So, and the Namaste became a great hit during COVID, isn't it? Namahate, worshipping the God in you, revering, bowing down to the God in you. So there are so many such traditions that we need to discuss. Make it a point to discuss at least one tradition in every class, because the list is endless. Let us also do our homework. It is a very, very interesting thing to know what are our traditions and why are we doing it. Swami says the aim of culture is to cultivate mental calm, courage, to make everyone feel one with all, because the end of culture is perfection, and perfection is nothing but divinity. Sairam.
Sai Ram Rama, thank you so much for that wonderful explanation of Indian culture. I think the richness and the variety of our culture will be cherished by all after listening to your talk. So thank you so much once again for spending your valuable time with us this afternoon. Thank you. Remarks, I'll just go to the last topic of today, and for that we have Sister Suma, who is the Mahila Coordinator of Bandra Samiti, Mumbai, who will be talking to us about Vedas and its importance. Sister Suma, please. Naveen, please make her a co-host. Yes, Suma, you can start. Audible.
Yeah.
You have a PP.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Let us once again offer our humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Bal. Swami, in answer to the prayers of scholars and devotees both in India and abroad, he started the first Veda Purusha Saptaha Yajna in October 1962. So this was the beginning of his plans for Vedic revival. So the Veda Purusha himself directed as well as accepted the yajna. So learning and chanting Vedas are a very important and integral part of the syllabus of the Sri Sathya Sai Bal Vikas program. So let us see why Vedas are considered so important. Vedas are considered to be the very breath of God. The word Veda comes from the Sanskrit root vid, that is, to know. So what is the knowledge that we need to know? What kind of knowledge is this? It's not just any knowledge, it's not general knowledge, but the knowledge of our core existence, the cosmos, and our relationship to our Creator. So it refers to a vast body of spiritual knowledge, showing us the way to deal with various things in our lives. These Vedas were revealed to great rishis in their deepest state of meditation. And they are also the basic scriptures, the most important scriptures for our Sanatan Dharma. The Vedas are called apaurushaya, as they are not man-made but have been revealed to men by God Himself. For centuries, the Vedas have been handed down to posterity by oral tradition, and it has been only in the last hundreds of years that it has been written down. Since it has been learnt by hearing, it is also known as Shruti. So the knowledge that the Vedas give us is the knowledge about the one without a second, about the unity of all creation. It is difficult to fix the date of the Vedas, where scholars have given various dates. Enough to say it is very, very ancient. Sage Vedavyasa, he came to be known as Vedavyasa after he codified and categorized the various Vedas that were available at that point of time, and he brought them all together under four different groups. They are the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. So the Rig Veda is one of the oldest Vedas and is considered to be very, very important. Sama Veda deals with hymns and mantras that have already been talked about in the Rig Veda, and that is why we, even till today, with great gratitude, we celebrate Vyasa Purnima or Guru Purnima for the great work that sage Veda Vyasa did for bringing all these Vedas under a classification, and he passed it on to four of his disciples. Apparently, he passed it on to four of his disciples. Each disciple took on one Veda and then passed it in turn to their various disciples. So we all know about Swami's love for Vedas. So he says his love for Vedas and his love for humanity is similar. So we know that Swami, several times he has spoken about Vedas and how important it is for us. And he says that is one of the main purposes or goals of his mission. So, and he's sure, he declared when he started the Veda Saptaha Yajna that he has come for Vedic revival and he will continue to do it and it will be done. So we should all take part in this mission of his. In 2006, Swami conducted the Atirudra Mahayajna in Prashanti Nilayam under his divine presence, and there he said the Vedas and the mantras that are chanted are not just for any few individuals, but they are for the whole world. And these sounds or the vibrations that are created there will have a positive effect on the atmosphere of the whole world. So we see how important it is. Let us see some of the benefits of chanting Vedas. So the children, when we teach our balvikas children, so it has some very good benefits for them. So it will give them, it will help their clarity in speech, and they will be getting a sense of freedom and confidence and concentration. They are able to focus better. And Vedas are in the language of Sanskrit, which is one of the oldest and most amazingly systematically organized language. So it has a very good effect and will help the children to get clarity of speech. So chanting is not just about religion and spirituality. It is a combination of sound, breath, and rhythm. The mantras have both psychological and physiological benefits for those who listen to it and those who chant it. So the benefits at the sound level, because every mantra has its own sound vibration or resonance pattern, and when it is chanted, it will affect every cell in the body. The Swami says that he gives the example of a child lying on his mother's lap and listening to the lullaby that its mother sings. Even though it is not able to understand the meaning of the lullaby, but it gets induced to sleep. It is able to sleep just listening to the tune. The same way, sometimes just chanting, listening to the Veda with great devotion can get you many, many benefits. And of course, there's an impact at the meaning level also. If you focus on the meaning, you are able to better concentrate and understand and see what magnificence of the creator, and which is shown in the Vedas. So this Prema Dharma Trust is a children's runs a children's home in Puttaparthi for children from the underprivileged background, and there they have been taught to chant the Vedas by several tutors, and they have been groomed by Sir Vedanarayan himself, and it has shown very good benefits for these children. Earlier, Vedas chanting was restricted to certain groups of people, but Swami has thrown open the door to Veda chanting to all groups of people, irrespective of nationality, caste, religion, gender, and other restrictions. So he wants everyone to learn Veda and chant them and bring about good vibrations to all of society. In fact, UNESCO has declared Veda chanting as an intangible heritage for humanity in November 2003. So let us learn to chant, teach the Vedas, and encourage our Balvikas children to learn the Vedas in keeping with Swami's wish. Swami says, let us chant Rudram and make our life Bhadram. Indeed, our children are lucky to have this opportunity to learn Vedam at such a young age. I'm sure you will agree with me that Vedas are very important, and you will make all the effort to learn and spread Vedas to the children. Thank you very much. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Suma, for that wonderful presentation on Vedas. And I'm sure everyone here, especially the new gurus, have understood why Vedam is a part of the Bhartiya's curriculum. So with this presentation, we come to the end of this session, online session, and tomorrow we meet at Dharmakshetra, the Mumbai Gurus, the Maharashtra Western Gurus, for the second session, which will be from 10 to 1, where the rest of the techniques, the refined techniques, we have only dealt with prayer today. So the other techniques will be taken up at Dharmakshetra. And for those of you who are not comfortable in English, I promise you that tomorrow we will be speaking more in Hindi than in English. So don't worry, it will be a mixture of English and Hindi. So all of you will understand what is happening. And today, the talks where you have had a little problem in understanding, we're trying to give you the Hindi translation of those talks. So very soon we'll try to reach those to you. So these few words, I thank Swami for this opportunity. Sai Ram, and we'll close this session. Naveen, please. Naveen, concluding prayer, please.